Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for convening the hearing today as a part of our task force on artificial intelligence. I know this is a topic that you particularly care deeply about, and I'm very interested in learning how our identity systems can be modernized in such a way that protects the privacy and personal information of all of our citizens, and I look forward to hearing from the panel today. You know, when we anticipate a digital world where we're distributing financial services products digitally through banks and non-banks across the country, obviously, whether it's a mobile app or through the internet, through the web. This issue of authenticating someone's truly that you're doing business with and that they in turn then are just granting you, the financial services company, access to their information for a particular purpose. All this relates to how we identify people, how we authenticate people in the space. And of course, we've had Graham Leach for many years now, but a lot of people who aren't banks or financial service players are not covered by Graham Leach. And so this issue of how do we improve that and offer innovation is so important. And if we think about a digital world, you can't really have a completely digital process in 50 states in this country or internationally if you don't have not only the cyber protections that we're talking about in terms of the data being protected, but also that authentication process, so that individual user's identity. And so that's why I think this hearing is so important to the work we're doing in the FinTech Task Force, and it's so important for our private sector players and by, I think, our regulators on how we enhance the robustness of identity. How do we do it? How do we authenticate people in a more effective way and move way beyond the username and password that has spent the last 20 years of repeating our pets' names and 1, 2, 3, et cetera, as a way to get into systems as helpful as maybe just a sharing app or as important as reviewing in our financial lives online. Also, the issue of data breaches is critical, and here the federal government doesn't have any better track record than the private sector. We've been in this committee, I've been in Congress 4.5 years, and we've spent a lot of hours in this room talking about the incompetence of the federal government in protecting people's privacy and our data. So obviously this is a key issue for both the public and the private sector. Financial services companies, as Dr. Foster noticed, are victim more to this kind of attack, 300 times more frequently than non-financial businesses, purely for really, obviously for Willie Loman's admonition that that's where the money is, but also if you're a state actor, that's where the disruption is the most, is a very vulnerable point in the Western world. But thanks to advances in technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, it's becoming increasingly easier to authenticate individuals and mitigate that kind of fraud. But we must be vigilant as policymakers to ensure that all of our sensitive information remains private. I look forward to hearing the witnesses help us understand these issues and what we might consider either legislatively or regulatorily to improve this process. And I look forward to the discussion. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.